Energy is the language of God, the silent force through which all creation is spoken into existence. When you learn to speak this language, your thoughts and feelings begin shaping reality itself. Once you truly understand it, you no longer chase your desires. You create them. Energy is the language of God. Introduction. At the silent threshold between the seen and the unseen, a subtle language is always being spoken. It is not made of words or sound, but of energy, an ancient current flowing through the core of your being. Within the teachings explored in the language of energy, this current is understood as the quiet dialogue between your inner world and the vast intelligence that breathes life into the universe. Every thought you allow to linger, every emotion you hold within your heart, becomes a vibration that moves outward into the unseen fabric of reality. This invisible exchange is constant. Long before events take form in the physical world, they are shaped within the field of energy that surrounds and permeates all things. Like ripples expanding across a still lake, your consciousness sends patterns into this quantum tapestry, subtly drawing experiences that mirror the frequency you embody. To recognize this is to awaken to a sacred truth. Manifestation is not a mysterious power granted to a few, nor a trick to be learned. It is a universal law, as natural and unwavering as gravity itself. The universe listens not to your spoken wishes, but to the deeper rhythm of your energetic state. Your personal frequency is carried through three powerful currents: your thoughts, your emotions, and your expectations. Together they form a living triad, shaping the signal you send into the infinite. Most people remain unaware that this transmission never stops. In every moment you are creating, aligning, and participating in an ongoing conversation with the intelligence that guides the cosmos. The ancient mystics understood this hidden principle well, that energy gives birth to matter, that consciousness molds the visible world, and that the unseen realm is the true womb of creation. You are not merely a witness to this force. You are a living expression of it, a vessel through which the universe learns to dream itself into form. Before we get into the book, comment "I am ready" to affirm your intention to the universe. Part 1. The Awakening. Chapter 1. The Whisper Beneath Thought. In the quiet hills beyond the city, there lived a woman named Clara Whitaker. Each morning, she would kneel before her window, hands clasped in fervent prayer, beseeching the heavens for transformation. Yet beneath her whispered words lay a current of doubt, a subtle resignation that painted her desires in shades of impossibility. Her life became a mirror of this inner contradiction, forever hoping, forever waiting, forever disappointed. The wisdom hidden in Clara's story touches the very heart of creation. Your words may reach toward heaven, but it is your emotional certainty that moves mountains. The universe responds not to what your lips speak, but to the unwavering signal your heart broadcasts. Thought floats like mist upon the morning air, but feeling strikes like lightning, commanding reality to reshape itself. Consider the merchant Harold Bennett, whose story interweaves with this truth. For decades, he toiled beneath the weight of ambition, his hands forever reaching for prosperity while his heart harbored shadows of resentment. Each time he witnessed another's success, a quiet bitterness took root, unknowingly anchoring him to the very scarcity he sought to escape. The law remained unmoved by his surface efforts, responding instead to the deeper current of his emotions. It was only when Harold's heart shifted from comparison to appreciation that abundance began to flow. In that profound moment of understanding, he discovered that admiration for others' success harmonized his energy with the very prosperity he desired. These tales unveil a fundamental truth. You cannot attract what you secretly resist. The universe, in its infinite wisdom, responds not to your words, but to your energetic signature. When you find yourself stuck in patterns of lack despite endless effort, examine the feeling tone beneath your desires. Are you broadcasting resistance while praying for reception? Are you emanating judgment while asking for blessing? The ancient practice of emotional alignment. Find a quiet space and settle into stillness. Allow your eyes to close gently, your breath to deepen. Notice the feeling that lives beneath your stated goals, the hidden emotional current that truly shapes your reality. With each breath, let gratitude soften any resistance you discover. Allow appreciation to become your natural state, the foundation from which all desires arise. Feel how this shift in emotional frequency aligns you with the infinite intelligence that orchestrates all creation. Remember, your emotions are prayers made visible to the universe. Choose them wisely. Chapter 2. The Mirror of Emotion. In the silent depths of your being lies a power greater than any earthly force, the power of emotional resonance. This truth unveils itself through the tale of Mabel Carter, whose days unfolded like chapters from a book of grievances. Each morning brought fresh evidence of life's unfairness, not because the universe conspired against her, but because her inner conviction acted as a magnet, drawing circumstances that matched her emotional frequency. The universe, in its infinite wisdom, operates through precise spiritual laws. Your emotional state is not merely a response to life. It is the very blueprint from which your reality is built. Like a master craftsman shaping clay, divine energy molds circumstances according to the feeling tone you maintain. This is why two people can encounter the same situation, yet experience entirely different outcomes. When you understand this principle, you begin to see why life seems to echo your deepest beliefs. The world you perceive is not happening to you. It is responding to you. Every emotion you harbor sends ripples through the fabric of creation, attracting experiences that resonate with that frequency. Theodore Hayes discovered this truth through his journey with loneliness. For years he built walls of protection, believing others kept their distance when in truth, his guarded energy created the very isolation he feared. The moment he recognized this pattern, everything shifted. By choosing to offer warmth without demanding anything in return, he altered his emotional broadcast. As naturally as water flows downhill, connections began to form. The universe mirrors your inner state with mathematical precision. When you radiate trust, trustworthy circumstances find you. When you emanate joy, joyful experiences multiply. This is not coincidence, but cosmic law in action. Your emotional atmosphere is your constant prayer to the universe, and that prayer is always answered. Ancient practice. Find a quiet space where you won't be disturbed. Close your eyes and breathe deeply. Feel the emotional atmosphere you've been carrying, not judging it, simply observing its quality and texture. Now imagine gentle acceptance washing over this emotional landscape like golden light. Allow trust to rise within you naturally. like the sun climbing above the horizon. Let this feeling of trust become your companion, your natural state of being. Carry this transformed energy into every moment, every interaction, every expectation. Your new emotional baseline becomes your ongoing dialogue with the universe. Chapter 3. Frequency before form. In the valleys between mountain peaks, where ancient wisdom whispers through the wind, lived Evelyn Monroe. Each morning she would gaze at the opulent homes dotting the hillside, her heart yearning for abundance while her mind whispered unworthiness. Like many before her, she had not yet awakened to the sacred truth that abundance flows not from external circumstances, but from the inner spring of self-worth. The universe operates through immutable spiritual law. Frequency precedes form. Just as a radio must tune to the correct frequency to receive a broadcast, your consciousness must align with prosperity to manifest it in physical form. Your sense of self-worth is the tuning dial through which the infinite abundance of the universe flows. When you stand before the cosmic mirror of creation, what reflection do you cast? The image you hold of yourself shapes the energy field around you, attracting or repelling prosperity like a magnetic force. Those who see themselves as worthy naturally draw opportunities, while those who doubt their value unconsciously push abundance away. In the realm of spirit, identity is destiny. The divine flow moves not through effort, but through alignment. When you declare, "I am worthy," with unwavering certainty, you open channels through which prosperity can pour. This is not pride, but recognition of your divine birthright. Consider Walter Green, whose artistic gifts remained hidden behind walls of self-doubt. His paintings gathered dust while his spirit dimmed, until he discovered the ancient practice of inner alignment. Rather than seeking validation from the world, he began affirming his inherent worth through daily communion with his higher self. He would sit in silence, allowing the truth of his value to wash over him like golden light. As Walter's inner frequency shifted from doubt to certainty, the outer world responded in kind. Gallery owners who had once turned him away now sought his work. Critics who had ignored him began celebrating his unique vision. The change appeared miraculous, yet it followed the precise law of spiritual magnetism. When you know your worth, the universe mirrors that knowing. The riches you seek already exist in the infinite field of potential. They await only your energetic readiness, your deep acceptance of deserving. This is not about forcing or struggling, but about allowing yourself to receive what has always been yours. Practice. Find a quiet space and settle into stillness. Close your eyes and breathe deeply, letting each breath carry away old doubts about your worth. Feel the divine presence that lives within you, the same force that ignites stars and orchestrates galaxies. Let this awareness fill you until you sense your own magnificence. Without needing proof or permission, simply rest in the knowing that you are worthy because you exist. You are worthy because the universe expresses itself through you. Hold this feeling, letting it expand through every cell until it becomes the foundation from which you move through life. This is your natural state, complete, deserving, and abundantly blessed. Chapter 4. The Law of Resonance. In the vast tapestry of existence, every thread vibrates with purpose, weaving patterns that mirror our innermost frequencies. Lucy Davenport's journey unveils a fundamental truth about the universe's responsive nature. Each anxious thought she harbored multiplied, creating an echo chamber of circumstances that validated her concerns. Yet within this pattern lay the key to transformation. The ancient wisdom speaks of resonance. Like tuning forks singing in harmony, your emotional frequency sends ripples through the fabric of reality. When one tuning fork vibrates, others of the same pitch respond in kind, even without physical contact. So, too, does your dominant mood call forth matching circumstances from the infinite field of possibility. This is not mere coincidence, but spiritual law in action. Your emotional signature broadcasts continuously, attracting experiences that match its frequency. Worry begets worry, peace attracts peace, and joy magnetizes joyful circumstances. The universe responds not to what you say you want, but to the energy you consistently maintain. Samuel Brooks embodied this principle through his journey from limitation to liberation. His fear of failure cast a shadow so deep that opportunity seemed threatening rather than inviting. Each potential for growth appeared as a risk of loss, creating a self-fulfilling prophecy of stagnation. Yet in this darkness lay the seed of his transformation. The shift began when Samuel chose curiosity over fear. Rather than asking, "What could go wrong?" he began wondering, "What might I discover?" This subtle but powerful change in focus altered his entire energetic signature. Where anxiety once closed doors, curiosity opened windows of possibility. Progress naturally followed this elevation in frequency, like dawn following night. Your circumstances are not random events, but reflections of your sustained vibrational state. When you understand this, you hold the key to conscious creation. The world responds not to your wishes, but to your wavelength. Ancient practice. Find a quiet space and settle into stillness. Begin to notice the sensations in your body, particularly the difference between what feels expansive and what feels contracting. When you locate an expansive feeling, perhaps warmth in your chest, lightness in your shoulders, or openness in your breath, gently rest your attention there. Breathe into this sensation, allowing it to grow naturally. Let this become your chosen tone, your practiced frequency. Trust that as you maintain this vibration, life will begin to echo its qualities back to you. Hold this practice for several minutes, returning to it throughout your day, knowing that each moment of alignment shapes the field of possibilities around you. The universe awaits your signal. What frequency will you choose to broadcast? Chapter 5. Belief as Blueprint. In a quiet village, Nora Simmons walked through life with her guard perpetually raised, her heart fortified against anticipated wounds. Time and again, her relationships crumbled, each dissolution seeming to confirm her deepest fears. Yet, what appeared as a string of betrayals concealed a deeper truth, one that whispers through the ages. The universe operates through resonance, not randomness. Your beliefs form an energetic blueprint that shapes every interaction, every relationship, every outcome. Like a master architect designing a dwelling, your deepest convictions construct the very foundation of your experiences. These beliefs broadcast a frequency that draws matching circumstances with mathematical precision. When you expect betrayal, you unconsciously orchestrate its arrival. Your caution creates distance, your suspicion breeds defensiveness, your fear manifests as withdrawal. These subtle energetic signals invite others to mirror your mistrust, completing a self-fulfilling prophecy that appears to validate your original assumption. Franklin Doyle knew this pattern intimately. For years he wore cynicism like armor, viewing trust as a weakness to be avoided. Each interaction became a subtle power struggle, each relationship a careful dance of control. The exhaustion of constant vigilance finally led him to question this approach. In a moment of surrender, Franklin began a radical experiment. He chose to extend small acts of trust, first in insignificant matters, then in increasingly meaningful ways. To his amazement, the world responded differently. Colleagues became allies, strangers showed kindness, relationships deepened. The same universal law that had previously confirmed his suspicions now reflected back his growing openness. This transformation reveals a fundamental truth. Belief shapes perception, and perception creates experience. The energy you project becomes the reality you inhabit. When you revise your core assumptions, you alter the very fabric of your relational universe. Ancient wisdom teaches that the outer world mirrors the inner state. Change begins not with others, but with the stories you tell yourself about trust, safety, and connection. As you release limiting beliefs, you create space for new possibilities to emerge. The practice. Find a quiet moment and settle into stillness. Bring to mind one limiting belief that has shaped your relationships. Perhaps it's people always disappoint, or I must protect myself to be safe. Now imagine a gentler alternative. Trust creates deeper connections, or I am safe to open my heart. Hold this new possibility in your awareness, letting it sink into your being. Don't force belief. Simply allow this kinder version of reality to rest in your consciousness until it begins to feel natural, like a seed taking root in fertile soil. Chapter 6. The Power of Attention. In the quiet village among rolling hills, Hazel Perkins walked through her garden each morning, seeing only empty spaces where flowers had not yet bloomed. Her eyes found bare patches of earth rather than the vibrant roses that flourished, counted missing seeds instead of abundant harvests. Though surrounded by beauty, her attention magnetized absence, drawing more experiences of lack into her sphere. The universe speaks in the language of energy, and attention serves as the directing force of this divine current. Like water flowing where channels are carved, life force moves toward what captures your focus. This is not mere optimism. It is spiritual law operating with mathematical precision. What you consistently observe grows in magnitude, not because reality changes, but because your perception tunes to specific frequencies of experience. Gratitude acts as an alchemical force, transforming the way energy moves through your life. When you shift from noting what's missing to recognizing what's present, you redirect the flow of universal force. This subtle yet powerful adjustment allows abundance to reveal itself where scarcity once seemed to reign. Arthur Collins embodied this principle through his journey from limitation to abundance. Each morning he would scan the newspaper, highlighting problems and potential disasters, his mind becoming a magnet for troubling scenarios. His world seemed filled with obstacles until a wise teacher guided him to a simple truth. Attention is the currency of creation. Gradually, Arthur began redirecting his focus. Where he once saw business challenges, he started noting opportunities for growth. When market fluctuations appeared, rather than forecasting doom, he searched for hidden advantages. As his attention shifted, so did his experience. Opportunities emerged as if by magic, though no magic was involved, only the precise operation of universal law. Your relationship with reality mirrors the relationship between soil and seed. What you plant with attention grows in your experience. Focus on problems, and problems multiply. Direct awareness toward solutions and pathways appear. Practice. Settle into a comfortable position and gently close your eyes. Bring your awareness to something in your life that's working well. Perhaps the rhythm of your breath, the warmth of sunlight on your skin, or the steady beat of your heart. Let your attention rest there, feeling appreciation deepen with each breath. Notice how this simple act of focused gratitude begins to illuminate other gifts in your experience. Maintain this practice for several minutes, allowing attention to transform ordinary moments into revelations of abundance. The subtle shift in your energy will ripple outward, attracting more experiences that match your appreciative awareness. Chapter 7. Emotional Alchemy. In the depths of an ancient valley, Violet Turner maintained a facade of constant cheer, believing that spiritual truth demanded perpetual smiles. Each morning she painted happiness onto her face while her heart carried untended wounds. Yet the universe speaks not through masks, but through the raw authenticity of being. The teaching reveals a truth often misunderstood, that divine energy responds not to performed positivity, but to honest presence. When you deny what moves within you, you create interference in your spiritual frequency. Like a radio signal distorted by static, suppressed emotions cloud the clarity of your creative force. To speak the language of universal law requires neither constant joy nor the denial of shadow. It asks instead for the courage to acknowledge what is true in this moment, knowing that each feeling carries its own intelligence and purpose. Your emotions are not obstacles to manifestation. They are the very instruments through which higher wisdom flows. Chester Lawson discovered this truth through the loss of his beloved. At first he tried to push past his grief, believing that spiritual practice meant rising above human pain. But his forced smile became a prison, and his manifestations grew weak and hollow. It wasn't until he allowed himself to fully feel the depth of his loss that genuine healing began. In the quiet acceptance of his sorrow, Chester found something unexpected, a profound peace that arose not from denial, but from surrender to what was real. As he stopped fighting his grief, its grip began to loosen naturally. His energy, no longer split between pretense and truth, became clear and powerful once again. The wisdom here illuminates a vital principle. Emotional authenticity precedes energetic clarity. When you honor what moves through you without requiring it to be different, you create space for natural transformation. This is not weakness, but wisdom, not failure, but the foundation of genuine spiritual power. Sacred practice. Find a quiet space and settle into a comfortable position. Allow whatever emotion is present to surface without resistance. Notice its qualities, its texture, its temperature, its movement in your body. Breathe gentle awareness into any tension or heaviness. Rather than trying to change what you feel, simply hold it in compassionate presence. Observe how acceptance begins to shift the energy naturally, not through force, but through the healing power of witnessed truth. Let this practice remind you that authentic feeling leads to authentic creation. Chapter 8. Imagination as Creation. In the quiet hills beyond the village, Iris Caldwell would spend hours imagining her own failure. Each morning she painted detailed pictures in her mind of rejection, disappointment, and loss. These visions became so real that her hands would tremble and her heart would race, as though she were living through the very scenes she dreaded. What Iris failed to understand was that she was not merely thinking, she was creating. The universe does not judge our imaginings as good or bad, real or unreal. It simply responds to the energy we generate through our mental pictures, treating each focused thought as a seed planted in the fertile soil of possibility. Your imagination is the architect's table where reality is first drafted. When you consistently envision an outcome, you are not predicting the future. You are programming the energy field from which your experiences emerge. The images you hold in your mind become the blueprint that divine intelligence follows with perfect precision. Leonard Foster discovered this truth during his darkest hour. After years of business setbacks, he began a simple practice. Each morning, before the sun rose, he would sit in silence and allow himself to experience success in his mind's eye. He saw himself conducting meetings with confidence, making wise decisions, and creating value for others. Most importantly, he infused these visions with the feeling of accomplishment already achieved. Within months, subtle shifts began occurring. Opportunities appeared that matched his visualizations. People responded to him differently, sensing the certainty he had cultivated in his private mental rehearsals. His external reality gradually aligned with his internal vision, not through force or struggle, but through the natural law of energetic resonance. The power of visualization lies not in escapist fantasy, but in emotional embodiment. When you imagine your desired outcome, you must feel it with such intensity that your entire being accepts it as real. This is not self-deception. It is conscious participation in the creative process that governs all manifestation. Practice. Settle into a quiet space and allow your breath to become gentle and steady. Close your eyes and picture your desire fulfilled, not as distant fantasy, but as present experience. See the details, hear the sounds, feel the textures of your vision. Let joy saturate this image until it feels familiar and attainable. Hold this vision until your body responds with the emotions of accomplishment. This is not mere daydreaming. It is speaking the language of creation itself. Chapter 9. Trusting the Invisible. In an ancient scroll, carefully preserved through generations, lies a wisdom that speaks of patience and divine timing. Pearl Ramsey's tale mirrors the struggle many face on the path of manifestation. Each morning, she would plant a seed, only to dig it up hours later to check if it had sprouted. Her demand for instant validation prevented the natural unfoldment of her desires. The universe operates through precise spiritual laws, as unchangeable as the cycles of dawn and dusk. Just as a farmer must trust in the invisible process of growth beneath the soil, you must cultivate faith in the unseen mechanics of manifestation. Your trust creates a stable field of energy within which your desires can take form. When you insist on immediate proof, you introduce discord into the frequency of creation. Picture throwing pebbles into still water. Each doubt ripples outward, disturbing the clear reflection of your intention. The law remains constant. Trust precedes evidence, never the reverse. Edwin Porter's journey illuminates this truth. As a merchant who once tracked every transaction with anxious precision, he learned that his need for control actually constricted the flow of abundance. The turning point came when he released his grip on outcomes, choosing instead to trust in divine timing and order. As Edwin relaxed into this trust, remarkable coincidences began appearing in his life. A chance meeting led to an unexpected partnership. A wrong turn revealed a perfect opportunity. What seemed like random events were actually synchronized responses to his aligned energy. This pattern reveals a profound truth. The universe operates through infinite intelligence, orchestrating circumstances far beyond your limited perspective. When you surrender your timeline and trust the process, you allow this greater wisdom to arrange optimal conditions for your good. Your role is not to force manifestation, but to maintain energetic coherence through unwavering faith. Let go of the need to see every step of the journey. The oak tree does not question its growth. It simply extends its roots deeper while reaching toward the light. Practice. Find a quiet space and settle into a comfortable position. Close your eyes and breathe deeply. Feel the presence of universal intelligence surrounding you, supporting you. With each breath, release the need to control outcomes or demand immediate proof. Allow trust to fill your being until patience becomes your natural state. Rest in the knowing that unseen forces are already collaborating with your aligned intention. Maintain this peaceful surrender for several minutes, letting it anchor into your consciousness as your new way of being. Chapter 10. Becoming the Signal. In ancient times, Ruby Gallagher wandered from temple to temple, seeking blessings and approval from every sage she encountered. Though wise words were spoken and temporary comfort found, her search for validation continued endlessly. For beneath each quest for external confirmation lay an unexamined truth. That which we seek outside ourselves must first be claimed within. The universal law speaks clearly on this matter. You must become the very frequency you wish to attract, like calls to like across the infinite field of energy. The outer world arranges itself as a mirror, reflecting back the signal you consistently broadcast. When you stand in certainty of your worth, the universe responds to that energetic declaration. Those who understand this principle recognize that manifestation flows from embodiment. You cannot attract abundance while vibrating at the frequency of lack. You cannot draw love while emanating unworthiness. The spiritual physics are precise. Your dominant energy becomes your magnetic signature. Consider Clarence Mitchell, who longed for respect in his professional life. In meetings, he would speak softly, doubt his contributions, and shrink from opposition. Though he excelled in his work, his energy telegraphed uncertainty, yet everything shifted when he began a private practice of self-respect. Each morning before dawn, Clarence would sit in silence, allowing himself to feel worthy without external proof. He stopped seeking approval and started approving of himself. He learned to value his voice before others heard it. Gradually, his energy transformed from questioning to knowing. Within months, colleagues began turning to him for guidance. His ideas met with serious consideration where once they had been overlooked. Nothing in his external circumstances had changed, but his energy now commanded respect because he had first commanded it from within. This is the hidden wisdom. You need not wait for evidence to embody your desired state. The power lies in becoming the energy you seek to attract. When you vibrate at the frequency of abundance, abundance recognizes its match in you. When you emanate the signal of love, love responds to its own reflection. Practice. Stand inwardly as the person who already lives your desire and carry that posture gently through your day, letting your energy announce what words never could. Chapter 11. Clearing Resistance. In the ancient village of merchants and mystics lived Daisy Thornton, whose heart yearned for expansion while her steps remained frozen in familiar patterns. Each morning she would gaze at the distant mountains, feeling their call to adventure, yet return to the safety of her well-worn routines. Her energy spoke two languages at once, one of possibility, another of protection, creating a vibration that kept her suspended between what was and what could be. The wisdom of ages teaches us that energy cannot flow through contradiction. When your heart whispers yes, while your mind shouts no, you create a spiritual stalemate. This internal division manifests as external stagnation, for the universe responds not to your wishes, but to your dominant frequency. Growth requires not the absence of fear, but the presence of acceptance. Your resistance to change acts as an energetic brake, holding you in place even as your spirit longs to soar. The path forward lies not in forcing movement, but in releasing the grip of contradiction. Milton Crawford understood this truth through living it. A craftsman who dreamed of exploring distant lands, he spent years building walls of security around himself. Yet something shifted when he began embracing uncertainty as a natural part of expansion. Instead of fighting his fear, he acknowledged it. Instead of demanding certainty, he welcomed mystery. Gradually, Milton noticed his world expanding. Opportunities for travel emerged unexpectedly. Connections formed with travelers who shared tales of far-off places. His craft evolved as he incorporated influences from cultures he had once feared to encounter. The very uncertainty he had resisted became the doorway to his liberation. This tale mirrors an eternal truth. Acceptance dissolves resistance. When you cease fighting what is, energy moves freely again. Your growth awaits not in the absence of fear, but in your willingness to hold both desire and apprehension in gentle awareness. The universe responds to coherence. When your energy aligns, when your fears are acknowledged and your desires embraced, movement becomes natural. Change flows not from force, but from integration. Practice. Settle into a quiet space and breathe into any tension around your desire. Feel where your body holds resistance. With each breath, allow that tension to soften, inviting harmony between your longing and your trust. Let your heart expand to hold both your dreams and your doubts, knowing that acceptance creates the space for transformation. Continue breathing until you sense a subtle shift, a gentle alignment between what you seek and what you're ready to allow. Part 2. The Alignment. Chapter 12. The Rhythm of Receiving. At the heart of energy lies an eternal dance between giving and receiving. In the mountains beyond the ancient city of Ur, there lived a healer named Lillian Harper, who poured herself into serving others. Her hands brought comfort, her words offered wisdom, yet when others wished to reciprocate, she withdrew like a flower closing at dusk. Though abundance flowed through her, it could not rest within her. The universal law speaks clearly on this matter. Energy must circulate freely, like breath moving in and out, like tides rising and falling. When you resist receiving, you create a dam in the natural flow of life force. This resistance often masks itself as virtue, humility, selflessness, unworthiness. Yet true humility recognizes that receiving is as sacred as giving, for both complete the circle of divine exchange. In the marketplace of life, Grant Sullivan walked a similar path. A merchant known for his generosity, he would offer discounts and extras to every customer, yet he struggled to raise his prices or accept help when his own storehouse ran low. His breakthrough came not through striving, but through surrender. When a winter storm damaged his roof, neighbors gathered to assist with repairs. Instead of deflecting their kindness, he allowed himself to be supported. In that acceptance, something shifted, not just his roof, but his relationship with abundance itself. What Grant discovered was a profound truth. Receiving is not taking, but allowing. It is an act of trust in the universe's infinite supply. When you open yourself to receive, you acknowledge your place in the great circle of giving. You honor those who wish to contribute to your life. You complete the current that others initiate. This teaching transcends material exchange. It governs every aspect of existence. From compliments to opportunities, from love to success, your capacity to receive determines how fully life can express through you. Each time you deflect a gift, dismiss praise, or minimize your worth, you constrict the channel through which abundance flows. Practice. Find a quiet moment and settle into stillness. Imagine yourself as a vessel of light, open at the top. Visualize blessings descending like golden rain and feel yourself accepting them with grace and gratitude. Notice any resistance, the urge to deflect or diminish, and simply let it dissolve. Breathe in the truth that you are worthy of receiving. Let this feeling of deserving and openness become your natural state. Chapter 13. Words that Carry Power. In the silence of dawn, Opal Jennings muttered familiar phrases that had become her daily ritual. I'll never get ahead. Nothing works out for me. I'm not talented enough. With each utterance, her shoulders slumped further, her energy dimming like a candle in the wind. She failed to recognize that these casual statements were shaping the very fabric of her reality. The ancient wisdom teaches us that words carry vibrational signatures that ripple through the quantum field of creation. When you speak, you are not merely expressing thoughts. You are issuing commands to the universe. Each declaration, whether whispered in doubt or proclaimed in faith, becomes a seed planted in the fertile soil of infinite possibility. Your words are more than simple expressions of thought. They are instruments of creation, each syllable carrying the power to shape your destiny. The universe responds not just to the literal meaning of your words, but to the emotional charge behind them. When you declare limitation, you create boundaries. When you speak of possibility, you open channels for divine flow. Howard Blake discovered this truth during his darkest hour. His business failing and his confidence shattered, he caught himself repeating, "I'm finished." One day, the weight of these words struck him with sudden clarity. He began a practice of mindful speech, carefully choosing declarations that aligned with his deepest desires rather than his current circumstances. Each morning, Howard stood before his mirror, speaking words of capability and worth. I am resourceful. Solutions come easily to me. Success flows naturally through my endeavors. Initially, these statements felt hollow, yet he persisted. Gradually, his voice gained strength, his posture straightened, and his eyes brightened with renewed purpose. Within months, opportunities began appearing, small at first, then increasingly significant. His colleagues noticed a shift in his presence, responding to his newfound authority. Howard had learned to harmonize his speech with his aspirations, and the universe echoed back in kind. The language you use programs your energy field. Each word you speak is a note in the symphony of your life's creation. When you declare weakness, you diminish your light. When you proclaim strength, you amplify your power. The universe mirrors back the frequency of your declarations with perfect precision. Sacred practice. Find a quiet moment at sunrise or sunset. Let your next statement about yourself emerge naturally, but before speaking, pause. Infuse your words with gentle power and loving truth. Notice the subtle sensations in your body as you speak words that honor your divine potential. Feel the resonance of supportive declaration flowing through your being, knowing that the universe listens and responds to every word you speak. Chapter 14. Gratitude as Gateway. In the gentle hills outside a small village, Esther Collins spent her days counting what was missing rather than celebrating what was present. Each morning she would wake to catalog her lack, the promotion not yet received, the house she hadn't purchased, the relationship that remained elusive. When my desires manifest, she would tell herself, then I will give thanks. The universe speaks in the language of energy, and gratitude is its sweetest tone. This truth, passed down through ages of wisdom, reveals that appreciation does not follow abundance, it precedes it. When you understand this principle, you recognize that waiting for circumstances to change before offering thanks is like waiting for a garden to bloom before planting seeds. Your grateful heart is the fertile soil in which prosperity takes root. Every thank you whispered in advance of manifestation carries the power to multiply what already exists. This multiplication begins in the subtle realm of energy before expressing itself in the material world. Raymond Price discovered this truth during his darkest hour. His business faced collapse. His savings dwindled, and uncertainty clouded his future. Yet in this moment of challenge, he remembered the ancient teaching, appreciation attracts appreciation. Instead of fixating on scarcity, he began each day by acknowledging the small mercies, the sunrise, a warm cup of tea, the strength to begin again. At first, this practice felt hollow, even foolish. But as days passed, Raymond noticed subtle shifts. A chance encounter led to an unexpected partnership. A forgotten client returned with a transformative opportunity. What appeared as coincidence was actually the natural response of universal energy to his shifted vibration. The interpretation of Raymond's experience unveils a timeless truth. Gratitude is not merely a response to good fortune. It is the magnetic force that draws it forth. When you align your energy with appreciation, you tune yourself to the frequency of abundance. This alignment accelerates the manifestation of your desires because it places you in harmony with the natural flow of universal energy. The practice. Find a quiet moment and whisper thanks for something so small it might usually go unnoticed. The warmth of sunlight on your skin, the rhythm of your breath, the stability of the ground beneath your feet. Let this gratitude be genuine rather than mechanical. Feel how the sincerity of your appreciation begins to stir something deeper within you. As you maintain this practice, notice how joy naturally rises, like a flower turning toward the sun. This simple act of recognition sets in motion forces beyond your current understanding, creating ripples of abundance in the vast ocean of possibility. Before we get into the next chapter, you can download a free ebook version of this audiobook using the link in the pinned comment below this video. Chapter 15. The Courage to Desire. In a small cottage among flowering gardens, Flora Bennett lived a life of quiet restraint. Each morning she would gaze at her journal filled with dreams carefully crossed out, believing that modest expectations protected her heart. Yet with each dream she denied, her spirit dimmed like a candle slowly burning out. The eternal wisdom speaks clearly on this matter. Desire itself is a sacred message from the infinite. When a dream takes root in your heart, it arrives as an invitation from the divine, seeking to express its boundless nature through you. The universe knows no limits, and the dreams that stir within you are its whispers of possibility. You may have learned to tame your desires, believing that smaller dreams mean smaller disappointments. Yet in doing so, you dam the very river of life force meant to carry you toward your highest expression. Desire is not the enemy of peace. It is the compass pointing toward your purpose. When energy stagnates through suppressed longing, it creates a hollow space where vitality once flowed. Your dreams are not random wishes, but divine appointments with potential, each one carrying a seed of your greater becoming. To honor them is to honor the sacred within you. Douglas Hayes understood this truth only after years of dismissing his deeper calling. As a gifted musician who had resigned himself to a conventional career, he felt his spirit slowly withering. One day, sitting at his old piano, he allowed himself to want fully again, to dream of sharing his music without constraint or apology. As Douglas began to honor his ambition openly, declaring it in prayer and meditation, something shifted. The very air around him seemed to pulse with renewed vitality. Opportunities arose naturally, as if responding to his realigned energy. His music, no longer confined to secret moments, became a channel for grace to enter the world. The message is clear. Your desires are not separate from your spiritual path, but integral to it. They are the language through which the infinite speaks its intentions for your life. When you deny them, you deny not only yourself, but the greater plan seeking expression through you. Sacred practice. Find a quiet space where you can be undisturbed. Close your eyes and place your hand upon your heart. Allow yourself to want fully and completely, without censorship or shame. Feel the excitement rise naturally as you give yourself permission to dream without limits. Let your desires emerge in their pure form, understanding that this longing itself is sacred guidance. Breathe into any resistance that arises, knowing that your dreams are divine appointments with destiny. Hold this space of pure wanting for several minutes, allowing your energy to align with the vastness of possibility. Chapter 16. Rewriting the Inner Script. Once, in a small village among ancient hills, Myrtle Lawson woke each morning to replay the moments that haunted her. Like a tapestry woven with threads of regret, she traced the patterns of past missteps until they became the very fabric of her present. Through dawn and dusk, these memories cast long shadows over her potential, each recollection reinforcing walls of limitation around her spirit. The universal law whispers a truth as old as time itself. Your memories are not fixed stones in an unchangeable past, but living energy that pulses through your present moment. Each time you revisit a memory, you breathe new life into its vibration, allowing it to shape the contours of your tomorrow. The power lies not in what occurred, but in the energy with which you infuse these remembrances. When you hold a memory in your mind, you are not merely observing, you are creating. The emotion you attach to past events becomes a signal, broadcasting into the infinite field of possibility. This signal attracts experiences that match its frequency, creating a cycle that either imprisons or liberates. In a distant city, Vernon Drake discovered this sacred truth during a moment of quiet revelation. For years, he had carried the weight of perceived failures like heavy chains. Yet one morning, as sunlight streamed through his window, he chose to view these same memories through eyes of wisdom rather than judgment. Instead of seeing defeat, he recognized lessons. Where there was pain, he found growth. With each gentle revision, he felt the energy of those moments transform. As Vernon continued this practice, something remarkable occurred. The changed vibration of his past began to alter the texture of his present. Confidence that had long laid dormant stirred to life. Opportunities that seemed closed began to open. He had not changed the events themselves, but by shifting their emotional resonance, he liberated the energy once trapped in regret. This wisdom illuminates a profound truth. The past exists not as fixed history, but as living energy within you. When you revise the meaning of past events, you release their hold on your creative force. Each memory thus transformed becomes a foundation for new possibility rather than a barrier to growth. Your memories need not be anchors that hold you in place, but rather wings that lift you toward new horizons. The power to reshape their influence lies in your willingness to view them with fresh eyes and an open heart. Ancient practice of memory. Transmutation. Find a quiet moment and settle into a space of gentle awareness. Bring to mind a memory that has limited your sense of possibility. As you hold this memory, breathe deeply and allow compassion to flow through you like warm sunlight. See the situation with new understanding, recognizing the wisdom gained. Feel how this shift in perspective releases tension from your body and mind. Let peace replace regret as you recognize that every experience has served your growth. This simple yet powerful practice, passed down through ages of spiritual teaching, transforms the energy of memory from burden to blessing. Chapter 17. Living in the End. In a remote mountain village, a woman lived who spent each day weaving beautiful tapestries. Yet she refused to hang them in her home, storing them away for some future time when she felt she had earned their display. Year after year, her masterpieces remained hidden, their beauty unseen, while she dwelled in sparse surroundings, waiting to feel worthy of the very beauty she created. The power of your creative force lies not in what you will feel tomorrow, but in the emotional vibration you maintain today. Many souls postpone their joy, believing that celebration must follow achievement. Yet this inverts the natural law of manifestation. Like Cora Whitman, who denied herself contentment until specific goals were reached, you may have learned to withhold your happiness, saving it for some future moment of triumph. But the universe responds not to your future intentions, but to your present emotional signal. When you postpone joy, you broadcast a frequency of waiting, of incompleteness. This very vibration ensures that fulfillment remains perpetually on the horizon, forever one step ahead. The secret lies in reversing this pattern, in daring to feel now what you imagine you will feel then. This truth unveiled itself to Stanley Moore, who had long struggled to advance in his work. Each morning, he would arrive at his modest office, his energy heavy with the weight of where he wasn't yet. Then one day, wisdom dawned. He began moving through his day as though success had already embraced him. He carried himself differently, spoke with quiet authority, made decisions from a place of abundance rather than lack. He did not pretend or deceive. He simply allowed himself to feel the emotional essence of achievement in the present moment. Within weeks, opportunities began aligning with his new vibration. His colleagues responded differently to his presence. Projects that had stalled found momentum. The outer world rearranged itself to match his inner certainty. The universe does not distinguish between emotion generated by current circumstances and emotion generated by conscious choice. When you feel prosperous, you broadcast prosperity. When you feel worthy, you broadcast worthiness. When you feel successful, you broadcast success. The external must, by spiritual law, align with your sustained internal state. This ancient teaching awakens you to your creative power in this very moment. You need not wait for conditions to change before allowing yourself to feel what you desire. Indeed, it is your present feeling that shapes conditions to come. Sacred practice. Find a quiet space and settle into stillness. Feel the satisfaction of completion in this moment, and let that feeling guide your posture and decisions today. Allow yourself to experience the emotional tone of your fulfilled desire as though it were already manifest. Let this feeling infuse your movements, your words, your interactions. This is not pretense. It is energetic alignment with what seeks to express through you. Chapter 18. The Field of Possibility. Long ago, in a village among ancient hills, lived a woman who crafted pottery from clay she gathered at the river's edge. Each morning, she walked the same path to collect her materials, made the same vessels, and sold them for the same modest price. Her work sustained her, but a quiet desperation grew in her heart. "This is all there is," she whispered to herself, hands working the familiar clay. One dawn, as mist cloaked the village, she discovered her usual path blocked by fallen trees. Rather than turn back, she ventured down an unknown trail. There, she found clay of colors she had never seen, rich purples, deep blues, and shimmering gold. Her limited world expanded in that moment of discovery, revealing abundance where she had seen only scarcity. Within you lies a similar truth. When Ina Fletcher moved through her days, she saw only closed doors and dead ends. Her world felt small, constrained by what she believed possible. Like a bird in an invisible cage, she limited her flight to the boundaries she had accepted as real. The universe speaks in the language of expansion. It knows no bounds, no limitations, save those we place upon it through our consciousness. What appears fixed is merely energy awaiting new direction. What seems impossible is only unexplored potential. Calvin Rhodes understood this when he began questioning his assumptions about what was achievable. Where others saw walls, he looked for windows. Where they accepted no, he asked, why not? His shift wasn't in his circumstances, but in his perception. As his vision expanded, reality responded in kind. Opportunities previously invisible began appearing with mysterious synchronicity. Doors he never noticed stood open, inviting exploration. This is the law at work. The field of infinite possibility responds not to what is, but to what you allow yourself to perceive. Your energy either constricts or expands this field. When you release the grip of limited thinking, you enter into communion with the unlimited nature of divine intelligence. The boundaries of your life are not fixed by external circumstance, but by internal frequency. Change your signal, and you change what manifests. Expand your vision, and you expand your experience. The universe matches your level of openness with corresponding opportunity. The practice. Find a quiet moment and settle into stillness. Breathe deeply and feel the space around you. Now bring to mind a situation where you feel limited or constrained. Instead of focusing on the barriers, allow your awareness to expand beyond them. What possibilities exist that you haven't considered? What paths remain unexplored? Let your imagination roam freely, unbound by what seems practical or possible. Feel the energy of unlimited potential surrounding you. In this expanded state, notice what new solutions or opportunities arise naturally in your consciousness. Carry this sense of spaciousness with you as you move through your day, remaining open to unexpected pathways and unimagined possibilities. Chapter 19. Inspired Action. Long ago, in a distant kingdom, there lived a woman who spent her days gazing at the stars, waiting for them to align and transform her destiny. She prayed endlessly, lit sacred candles, and performed rituals, yet her life remained unchanged. Her name was lost to time, but her lesson echoes through the ages. Creation flows through inspired movement. The universe speaks not just through signs and omens, but through the gentle stirring within that beckons you toward your desires. When you attune yourself to the whispers of divine guidance, action becomes a natural extension of energy rather than forced effort against resistance. Della Morrison embodied this truth in reverse. Day after day she sat in her garden, hands folded in her lap, beseeching the heavens for change while ignoring the subtle promptings of her heart. When the time is right, she would say, the universe will make it happen. Yet the universe was already speaking through her innermost impulses, the sudden urge to learn a new skill, the curiosity about a different path, the unexpected inspiration to reach out to someone. These were the bridges between energy and form, but Della dismissed them as mere passing fancies. The law operates with precision. Aligned action amplifies attraction. When you raise your vibration through belief and feeling, you naturally feel drawn to take steps that mirror your inner state. These actions carry a different quality. They feel light, joyful, almost effortless, as though you are being carried by an invisible current. Ernest Dalton discovered this truth through living it. Rather than forcing himself to follow rigid plans or waiting passively for rescue, he began to pay attention to his internal guidance system. When an idea sparked excitement, he followed it. When an opportunity created a flutter of recognition in his heart, he moved toward it. No step was too small if it felt aligned. Gradually, Ernest noticed a pattern emerging. Each inspired action, however modest, led to the next stepping stone. A chance conversation opened an unexpected door. A small decision attracted a synchronistic meeting. He wasn't pushing against life, but dancing with it, letting divine intelligence choreograph the steps while he remained responsively aware. The universe does not require your strain and struggle. It invites your participation in a more subtle way. Through the quiet yes that rises in your heart, through the spark of enthusiasm that points the way forward, through the peaceful knowing that accompanies aligned action. Ancient practice. Sit quietly and bring your desire to mind. Notice any subtle impulse or inspiration that arises, perhaps a small action that feels inviting or a gentle nudge toward a particular direction. Without analyzing or second-guessing, allow yourself to follow this prompting with simple, relaxed action. Trust that each aligned step creates ripples in the field of infinite possibility. Chapter 20. The Discipline of Alignment. In a small mountain village, a woman wove intricate tapestries that caught the morning light. Each day she sat at her loom, weaving threads of gold and silver into patterns that seemed to shimmer with life. Some days her hands moved with certainty, creating beauty beyond measure. Other days, doubt crept in, and her work became tangled and unclear. The tapestries she completed during times of confidence drew admirers from distant lands, while those created in moments of uncertainty remained hidden in shadows. The universe operates through unwavering spiritual law. Like the weaver at her loom, your energy must maintain consistent vibration to manifest your desires with clarity. When you oscillate between trust and doubt, you create a scattered frequency that yields mixed results. The power lies not in occasional bursts of alignment, but in sustained resonance with what you seek. Hattie Green's story mirrors this truth. She would spend weeks visualizing her dreams with fervor, only to abandon her practice when results didn't appear immediately. Her manifestations remained partial, glimpses of possibility that never fully materialized. The universe responded to her wavering signal with wavering results. The law of attraction requires steady focus, much like tending a garden. You cannot plant seeds, neglect them for weeks, then expect robust growth. It is the daily watering, the consistent care, that yields abundant harvest. Your thoughts and feelings are spiritual seeds that must be nurtured with patience and unwavering attention. Clifford Shaw discovered this principle through his own journey. Rather than allowing circumstances to dictate his inner state, he committed to maintaining positive expectation regardless of external evidence. Each morning, he visualized his desired outcome. Each evening, he counted his blessings. Through rain or shine, success or setback, he held his vibration steady. As weeks passed, Clifford noticed subtle shifts. Opportunities appeared more frequently. Helpful connections emerged unexpectedly. What began as coincidence became pattern, then lifestyle. His unwavering signal had established a clear channel for manifestation. Consider water flowing through a pipe. Intermittent pressure creates sporadic flow, while steady pressure maintains consistent stream. Your energy works similarly. Fluctuation between faith and doubt creates energetic turbulence, while steady trust establishes clear flow of divine intelligence. Ancient practice. Settle into a quiet space each morning. Place your hand upon your heart and whisper, "I choose trust." Throughout your day, when doubt arises, return to this gentle reminder. Let steadiness become your companion, consistency your strength. Through patient practice, watch how your stable signal attracts matching circumstances with increasing precision. Remember, manifestation follows the law of rhythm. Establish your energetic tone and maintain it with loving persistence. Through consistent alignment, you become a clear channel for universal abundance. Chapter 21. The Collapse of Doubt. In the quiet streets of a small coastal town, a talented artisan named Edna Wallace crafted exquisite jewelry that caught the eye of a prestigious gallery owner. Yet when offered a chance to showcase her work, she found reasons to delay, unconsciously protecting herself from the very success she claimed to desire. The universal law works with unwavering precision. What you truly feel beneath your conscious wishes determines what manifests in your life. When success approaches, hidden fears often rise to the surface, creating an energetic contradiction that must be resolved before manifestation can complete itself. Your outer world mirrors your inner state with perfect accuracy. If you discover yourself repeatedly approaching success only to step back at crucial moments, wisdom invites you to examine the shadows within. What seems like external obstacle often reveals inner resistance asking to be acknowledged. Victor Harmon, a gifted speaker, long avoided the spotlight his talents naturally attracted. Each time opportunity knocked, he found logical reasons to remain in the background. Yet beneath these reasonable explanations lay a deeper truth. The fear that true success would expose him to judgment, criticism, and the weight of others' expectations. The turning point came when Victor stopped fighting his fear and instead welcomed it as a teacher. In quiet moments of honest reflection, he allowed himself to feel the full depth of his anxiety about being seen. As he held space for these emotions without judgment, something shifted. The fear lost its grip not through force, but through acceptance. With each small step into greater visibility, Victor discovered that facing his fears diminished their power. As his inner resistance dissolved, outer opportunities multiplied. Speaking engagements manifested with surprising ease. His message reached wider audiences. The very exposure he once dreaded became a source of joy. The law of attraction responds not to surface desires, but to the deepest emotional currents within you. When fear of success operates unconsciously, it acts as a hidden brake on manifestation. Yet once acknowledged, even the strongest resistance begins to transform. The practice. Find a quiet moment and bring your attention inward. Allow yourself to imagine your desired success arriving in full measure. Notice any subtle tension or resistance that arises. Without trying to change anything, simply observe these feelings with gentle awareness. Breathe deeply and say to yourself, I acknowledge any fear of success within me. I accept these feelings as part of my journey. As I embrace them with understanding, they naturally dissolve, leaving me free to receive all that awaits. Let this acceptance become your daily practice until alignment feels natural and complete. Part 3. The Manifestation. Chapter 22. Embodying Prosperity. In every corner of the ancient marketplace, Lola Chambers saw abundance flowing freely. Yet each time opportunity knocked at her door, an inner voice whispered that wealth corrupts the soul. Despite her talents and tireless work, Prosperity remained just beyond her reach, held at bay by an invisible barrier of her own making. The universal law speaks clearly on this matter. Money itself carries no moral quality. Like water, it takes the shape of the vessel that holds it. Your belief about wealth becomes its character in your hands. When you view prosperity as a shadow over virtue, you unconsciously reject the very abundance that seeks to flow through you. Martin Ellis once shared this mindset, viewing financial success as a mark of spiritual compromise. His garden center barely sustained itself as he clung to the notion that material comfort meant selling one's soul. But as ancient wisdom found its way to him through unexpected channels, he began to see wealth differently, not as an end, but as a means of expanding positive influence. Money, he realized, amplifies who we already are. With this insight, Martin Ellis started viewing his business as a channel for community enrichment. He envisioned his garden center as an oasis of beauty and education, a place where people could connect with nature's abundance. As his perspective shifted, his energy aligned with prosperity's true purpose, the multiplication of good. Within months, opportunities emerged organically. Local schools requested educational programs. Community groups sought partnerships. Revenue increased not through aggressive pursuit, but through expanded service. Martin Ellis had discovered the secret. Wealth flows most freely to those who see it as a tool for collective elevation. This truth echoes through the ages. Abundance is your natural state. The universe operates through overflow, not scarcity. Look to the stars scattered across the cosmos, the seeds bursting from a single flower, the endless waves upon the shore. Divine intelligence creates in abundance, and you are part of this creative force. Your relationship with prosperity reveals your deepest beliefs about worthiness and purpose. When you understand that ethical wealth serves life's expansion, resistance dissolves. Clean intention becomes a powerful attractor, drawing resources aligned with highest good. Sacred practice. Find a quiet moment and settle into stillness. Place your hands palms up in your lap, symbolizing openness to receive. Breathe deeply and imagine prosperity as pure golden light flowing through you, touching everything in your sphere with positive possibility. Feel yourself as a channel for abundance that serves the greater good. Let gratitude arise naturally as you recognize your role in this divine circulation. Hold this sensation, knowing that as you align with prosperity's true purpose, you become its natural expression. Through this practice, you rewrite the story of wealth in your consciousness, no longer a source of guilt, but a sacred tool for expanding light in the world. In this alignment, abundance finds its proper place, not as your master, but as your ally in service to life. Chapter 23. Love as Highest Frequency. In a small village beneath snow-capped mountains, there lived a weaver named Sadie Bennett. Each day she would create intricate tapestries, weaving threads of gold and silver into beautiful patterns. Yet while her hands worked skillfully with the threads before her, her heart worked desperately at the art of love, chasing after affection like a leaf pursuing the wind. The truth whispers to us through the ages. Love follows the law of resonance. What you radiate internally returns to you multiplied. When you chase love from a place of emptiness, you broadcast the frequency of lack. The universe, in its perfect reflection, can only echo back that same emptiness. Your relationship with yourself creates the energetic template for all other connections. Every gesture of neediness, every desperate reach for validation, sends ripples of scarcity into the field of infinite possibility. This is not a judgment, but a reminder of your power to shift the pattern. Thomas Keller discovered this wisdom in the quiet moments of his solitude. Where once he had filled every silence with the noise of seeking, he began instead to cultivate a garden of self-appreciation. Each morning, he would sit in the gentle light of dawn, breathing in acceptance of his own presence. He stopped trying to fill the spaces between moments with constant searching. As Thomas learned to rest in his own companionship, something shifted in the energy he emanated. His shoulders relaxed, his smile came more easily, and his eyes held a quiet certainty. He no longer walked through life scanning faces for approval or connection. Instead, he moved with the natural grace of someone at peace with their own company. Within months, Thomas found himself drawn into natural connections that flowed without effort. A chance conversation at a bookstore, a shared laugh over spilled coffee. Relationships began to unfold with an ease that had eluded him in all his years of searching. He had discovered the paradox at the heart of attraction. Love flows most freely toward those who need it least. The teaching reveals itself. When you emanate wholeness, you become magnetic to its reflection. Your task is not to chase love, but to become it. Let go of the desperate reach for external validation and turn instead toward the warmth of your own heart. As you cultivate genuine appreciation for yourself, you naturally attract those who resonate with that frequency. Practice. Settle into a comfortable position and place your hand over your heart. Breathe deeply and slowly, allowing each breath to carry appreciation for your own being. Notice the qualities that make you uniquely you, your kindness, your courage, your capacity to grow. Let this recognition fill your chest with warmth until you feel it extending outward naturally, like sunlight radiating from within. Rest in this feeling of self-appreciation without seeking anything beyond it, knowing that this very completeness makes you magnetic to love's highest expression. Chapter 24. The Power of Silence. Along a winding path through ancient woods, Willa Norton walked swiftly, her footsteps echoing her racing thoughts. Even in nature's sanctuary, she filled the air with ceaseless chatter, as though silence itself might swallow her whole. Each quiet moment felt like an abyss, compelling her to fill it with motion, noise, or distraction. The teaching whispers an ageless truth. Silence is not empty, but full. It is the sacred space where divine intelligence speaks most clearly. Like still water that reflects the sky with perfect clarity, a quiet mind mirrors the wisdom of the universe. When the surface of your thoughts becomes placid, you begin to perceive the subtle currents of guidance that have always flowed beneath the noise. Your relationship with silence reveals your trust in the unseen. Those who fear the quiet often fear their own depths, resisting the very stillness that would bring them peace. Yet it is in these depths that your truest desires take shape, where inspiration dawns like the first light of morning. Henry Vaughan discovered this truth through necessity rather than choice. After years of ceaseless activity left him exhausted and unfulfilled, he found himself drawn to the practice of daily meditation. At first the silence felt foreign, almost threatening, but as days turned to weeks, something shifted within him. In the space between thoughts, he began to sense a presence, not external, but his own essence, clear and knowing. With each sitting, Henry noticed his intuition growing sharper, his decisions more aligned. Solutions arose effortlessly where once he would have struggled. The chaos of his outer world began to order itself, as though responding to the harmony he had cultivated within. The message is clear. Your energy field requires moments of stillness to recalibrate. Like a compass finding true north, your inner guidance system reorients in silence. What seems like emptiness is actually fullness waiting to be discovered. The universe speaks in whispers, not shouts, and those who learn to listen in stillness access wisdom beyond ordinary knowing. Ancient practice. Find a quiet place where you will remain undisturbed. Settle into a comfortable position and allow your eyes to close gently. Let your breath become soft and natural, making no effort to control it. As thoughts arise, observe them without attachment, like clouds passing through a vast sky. Rest in this quiet awareness for several minutes, allowing your energy field to naturally realign with its original harmony. Notice how clarity emerges not from seeking but from settling into stillness. Chapter 25. Synchronicity and Signs. In the bustling marketplace of an ancient city, there lived a merchant named Minnie Parker who prided herself on being practical and methodical. Each morning she would arrange her stall of vibrant fabrics, dismissing the strange patterns of customers who seemed to request the exact colors she had dreamed of the night before. "Mere chance," she would mutter, turning away from these whispers of the universe. The language of synchronicity speaks in subtle harmonies, weaving meaning through seemingly random events. When your energy aligns with universal flow, life responds with confirming echoes, not through thunderous proclamations, but through gentle nudges that catch your attention. These are not coincidences, but conversations with the infinite. Oscar Riley, a humble potter, discovered this truth through his craft. Each time he contemplated a new design, he began noticing how certain symbols would appear throughout his day, in the arrangement of leaves on his path, in the flight patterns of birds, in the cracks of dried earth. Initially, he dismissed these as random occurrences, yet as he learned to pay attention, these signs began guiding his artistic choices, leading to works that resonated deeply with those who beheld them. The universe speaks constantly through the language of synchronicity, numbers that repeat, words that echo across different contexts, chance meetings that open unexpected doors. These are the alphabet of divine communication. When you attune yourself to this subtle dialogue, life becomes a dance of meaningful connections rather than arbitrary events. What appears as coincidence to the sleeping mind reveals itself as guidance to the awakening spirit. The key lies not in forcing meaning onto every occurrence, but in maintaining an open awareness that allows patterns to emerge naturally. This receptivity strengthens your partnership with universal intelligence, creating a feedback loop of increasing clarity. To practice this ancient art of divine dialogue, stay gently alert to the subtle confirmations that appear throughout your day. When you notice repeating patterns, meaningful coincidences, or timely encounters, pause to feel appreciation for these cosmic winks of reassurance. This grateful acknowledgement strengthens your connection to the guiding force that orchestrates all of life's synchronicities. Actionable practice. Throughout this day, Maintain a soft awareness of the signs and synchronicities that appear in your experience. As you notice these subtle confirmations, pause briefly to feel appreciation, allowing each instance to deepen your trust in the invisible intelligence that guides your path. Chapter 26. The Expansion Beyond Fear. In the quiet corners of a bustling market, Agnes Turner watched others seize opportunities while she remained frozen in familiar patterns. Each morning she awakened with dreams of adventure, yet by nightfall those dreams remained safely tucked away in the realm of imagination. The universal truth whispers that growth dwells just beyond the borders of comfort, where fear and possibility dance together in delicate balance. The teaching speaks of a profound paradox. To manifest your desires, you must first release your grip on certainty. When you elevate your frequency through trust and alignment, fear loses its ancient hold on your spirit. Like water flowing around stones in a stream, energy seeks expression through the path of least resistance. Yet resistance often masquerades as prudence, keeping you anchored to shores you've outgrown. Patrick Doyle understood this truth only after years of standing still. Each morning, he would gaze at his workshop, filled with half-finished inventions and abandoned ideas. His hands held skill, his mind sparked with creativity, yet fear kept his creations hidden from the world. Until one dawn, when the weight of regret grew heavier than the burden of uncertainty. He began small, sharing one creation, then another. With each step into the unknown, he discovered that courage was not the absence of fear, but the willingness to move forward while carrying it. As his frequency shifted from hesitation to action, the universe responded in kind. Doors opened, connections formed, and opportunities emerged as naturally as flowers turning toward the sun. The message becomes clear through Patrick's journey. Expansion follows courage as surely as dawn follows night. When you align your energy with growth rather than protection, the universe conspires to support your evolution. Each step forward, no matter how small, creates ripples in the field of possibility. The law of resonance teaches that like attracts like. When you vibrate at the frequency of courage, you draw experiences that match your newfound resilience. The very act of moving forward despite uncertainty signals to the universe your readiness for expansion. Practice. Find a quiet space and settle into stillness. Close your eyes and bring to mind a situation that calls for courage. As you breathe deeply, visualize yourself moving through this challenge with grace and strength. Feel the sensation of empowerment rising within you, replacing hesitation with quiet confidence. Let each breath strengthen your resolve, knowing that as you align with courage, the universe aligns with you. Maintain this visualization until you sense a shift from fear to calm certainty within your being. Chapter 27. Co-Creation with the Divine. In the quiet hours before dawn, Eleanor Brooks knelt beside her bed, hands clasped in desperate prayer. Night after night she beseeched an apparently distant God for intervention, feeling increasingly hollow with each unanswered plea. Her petitions echoed the age-old pattern of separation, mortal supplicant reaching toward an unreachable divine. The ancient truth reveals a different reality. You are not meant to beg for divine favor, but to embody it. The universe does not require convincing. It awaits your recognition of the power already flowing through you. When you understand that divine intelligence expresses itself as you, through you, and with you, the entire foundation of manifestation shifts. Consider the ocean wave that believes it must petition the sea for movement. How can it be separate from that which is its very essence? You, like the wave, are not divided from the force that created you. Your thoughts, inspirations, and desires arise from the same intelligence that orchestrates galaxies. Lawrence Grant discovered this truth after years of spiritual struggle. Where once he approached life as a series of battles requiring divine intervention, he began to recognize himself as a natural channel for universal wisdom. His shift from pleading to partnering transformed not only his results, but his entire experience of life. As Lawrence aligned with this understanding, synchronicities replaced struggles. Ideas flowed effortlessly. Opportunities appeared with perfect timing. He no longer fought against circumstances, but moved in harmony with them, sensing the subtle guidance that had always been present. This transformation illuminates the core principle. Manifestation accelerates when you release the illusion of separation. The power you seek is not external to you. It is the very essence of your being. Your role is not to convince a distant deity, but to allow the infinite intelligence within you to express itself fully. Practice. Find a quiet space and close your eyes. Breathe deeply and imagine divine wisdom as a golden light flowing through every cell of your body. Feel yourself as a clear channel through which universal intelligence naturally expresses. Let this awareness guide your thoughts and actions, knowing you move in perfect partnership with the creative force of life itself. Chapter 28. Overflow and Generosity. In a modest cottage at the edge of a thriving village, Beatrice Lane filled her cupboards with more than she could use, while her neighbors sometimes went without. Each market day she gathered provisions beyond need, driven by an inner whisper that whispered, "There may not be enough tomorrow." Her pantry grew heavy with unused goods, yet her heart felt strangely empty. The universe speaks through the law of circulation. As breath must flow both in and out, so must all energy move to maintain its vitality. When you grasp too tightly to what you have, you create resistance in the natural flow of abundance. Like a stream that becomes stagnant when dammed, wealth loses its life-giving quality when held in fearful custody. Philip Warren discovered this truth in the quiet dawn of understanding. Though his means were modest, he shared his bread with travelers, offered his skills freely to those in need, and gave encouragement to those who doubted their path. Each time he opened his hands to give, an invisible door opened in the fabric of creation. His garden yielded more abundant harvests. Unexpected opportunities arose in his trade. Friends appeared with gifts that met his unspoken needs. What Philip Warren recognized was the profound simplicity of universal law, giving signals to the infinite that you trust in the endless supply. This trust becomes a frequency that attracts more to give, creating an upward spiral of abundance. It is not the amount you give that matters, but the love with which you give it. Even a smile offered with genuine warmth generates ripples of prosperity in the universal field. You stand now at the threshold of this ancient wisdom. The universe awaits your signal. Will you clutch tightly to what you have, or will you participate in the eternal dance of giving and receiving? When you give from joy rather than obligation, when you share from abundance rather than scarcity, you align with the very nature of creation itself. Sacred practice. Choose one thing today, whether material or intangible, and offer it with pure joy to another. As you give, feel the warmth of contribution flowing through you. Notice how your energy expands in the act of sharing. This is not mere giving. It is conscious participation in the infinite circulation of abundance. Chapter 29. Living as a Creator. In the quiet corners of her small bookshop, Josephine Hayes arranged volumes with care while carrying an invisible burden. Though she shared wisdom through literature with countless souls, she questioned whether her own energy affected the world around her. Each morning she watched patrons drift through the aisles, wondering if her presence made any difference at all. The universal law speaks clearly on this matter. Every being broadcasts a frequency that shapes the collective field. Like a pebble creating ripples across a pond, your emotional signature influences far beyond what eyes can see. When you doubt your impact, you dim your natural radiance. Yet when you accept the power of your presence, you activate your role as a conscious creator. Gregory Mills once managed a struggling restaurant, blaming the economy, location, and competition for his difficulties. His energy of victimhood permeated the establishment, affecting staff morale and customer experience alike. The turning point came when he realized his internal state was the hidden ingredient flavoring every aspect of his business. Instead of focusing on external factors, Gregory began calibrating his own frequency. He greeted each morning with purposeful gratitude, held staff meetings from a place of inspiration rather than worry, and approached challenges as opportunities for growth. Within months, the restaurant's atmosphere transformed. Servers smiled more genuinely, chefs cooked with renewed passion, and patrons lingered longer, feeling somehow uplifted by their visits. The truth reverberates through time. You are not a passive observer, but an active participant in reality's unfolding. Your thoughts, emotions, and beliefs create tangible ripples in the quantum field. When you abdicate this creative power, circumstances appear to control you. But when you embrace your role as a conscious broadcaster, life responds to your directing frequency. This principle operates with mathematical precision. Like gravity, it requires no belief to function. Yet understanding it allows you to work with it deliberately. Your energy speaks first, loudest, and most convincingly. Before words are uttered or actions taken, your vibration has already set the tone for what follows. The question is not whether you influence the field, but whether you do so consciously or unconsciously. Taking responsibility for your energetic output is the first step in authentic manifestation. This isn't about controlling outcomes, but about owning your creative contribution to the collective experience. Sacred practice. Sit quietly and place your hand over your heart. Breathe deeply as you affirm, I accept that my inner state shapes my outer world. I choose to broadcast with conscious intention. Let this awareness infuse your thoughts and feelings throughout the day, knowing that your energy creates ripples of influence in ways seen and unseen. Chapter 30. Once you know. Margaret Cole searched everywhere for answers, consulting teachers, reading books, and seeking wisdom in far-off places. Yet the most profound truth lay within her all along. Awareness itself is the key that transforms reality. The teaching reveals that once you truly understand energy as divine language, every thought and feeling becomes a conscious communication with the universe. When you speak this sacred language with clarity and conviction, life ceases to be a series of random events and becomes an intimate dialogue between your inner state and outer experience. Each moment offers an opportunity to align your energy with your intentions, to broadcast the frequency of what you desire rather than what you fear. The power of creation does not require complex rituals or desperate pleading. It flows naturally when you maintain conscious awareness of your energetic output. Your emotions, beliefs, and expectations are constantly shaping the field of possibility around you. This is not about forcing outcomes, but about cultivating an inner environment that naturally attracts what resonates with your authentic truth. Andrew Sullivan embodied this understanding by patiently integrating each principle into his daily life. Rather than rushing toward results, he focused on mastering his inner state. He recognized that sustained alignment was more powerful than sporadic intensity. With each passing day, his energy became clearer, more focused, and increasingly magnetic. Where others saw coincidence, Andrew perceived the precise reflection of his consistent vibration. His life transformed not through dramatic gestures, but through unwavering attention to his energetic broadcast. He lived in calm certainty, knowing that his inner harmony would inevitably express itself in his outer experience. The interpretation reveals that true mastery lies not in manipulating external circumstances, but in maintaining steadfast alignment with your chosen frequency. When you live in this awareness, manifestation becomes less about achieving specific outcomes and more about expressing your natural state of being. Now you understand that every moment is an opportunity to speak this divine language fluently. Your awareness itself is the catalyst for transformation. As you move through your days, let this knowledge settle deeply into your consciousness. You are not merely responding to life, you are creating it through your energetic presence. Sacred practice. Rest in quiet confidence that you now understand the language of energy and allow your daily life to become its fluent expression. Let each thought, feeling, and action flow from this profound awareness, trusting that your aligned energy speaks more powerfully than words ever could. Chapter 31. The Refinement of Intention. Charlotte Sinclair once declared she wanted abundance, yet beneath her words lived a desire to prove others wrong, and that hidden motive distorted her results. For years, her efforts to manifest prosperity bore thorns of bitterness, each achievement tasting hollow despite its outer shine. The deeper teaching reveals that intention carries a subtle energetic signature that shapes manifestation more precisely than surface desire. Like water flowing through different soils, your creative force takes on the qualities of the ground it passes through. The universe responds not only to what you ask for, but to why you are asking. Your innermost motive colors every particle of energy you send forth. When your intention is rooted in fear, revenge, or validation, the outcome arrives tangled in those same frequencies. These manifestations may fulfill the letter of your desire while missing its spirit entirely, bringing success that feels empty or victory that breeds new conflict. Pure intention, however, aligned with growth, contribution, and joy, creates clean results that feel expansive rather than heavy. Intention is the compass of energy, directing creative force toward harmony or conflict. Each prayer, each visualization, each affirmation carries the invisible imprint of your true motive. When you refine your motives, you refine your manifestations. Benjamin Harper spent years striving for recognition, believing success would silence his insecurity. Every achievement became another temporary bandage over an inner wound, that wouldn't heal. Benjamin Harper eventually realized that his drive was fueled by the need to feel worthy. When he shifted his intention from proving himself to expressing his gifts with sincerity, opportunities began appearing with ease and authenticity. The interpretation is clear. The purity of your inner motive determines the quality of your outer experience. Energy magnifies whatever foundation you build upon. A house built on sand cannot stand, no matter how beautiful its walls. Similarly, manifestation built on wounded motives will always carry that original discord, no matter how carefully you craft your words or actions. Sacred practice. Gently examine the desire currently closest to your heart and ask yourself what deeper feeling you truly seek through it. Then allow that core feeling, such as peace, freedom, or love, to become your primary focus, resting in it quietly until your intention feels clean, generous, and aligned with your highest self. Chapter 32. The Devotion to Daily Frequency. In the sacred dance of creation, the subtlest shifts often yield the most profound transformations. Eleanor Whitfield's journey illuminates a truth that many seekers overlook: the quiet power of consistency over the drama of sporadic intensity. Energy, like water, follows the path most frequently traveled. Each thought, each feeling becomes a groove in consciousness, deepening with repetition until it forms the channel through which divine power naturally flows. The universe responds not to occasional peaks of alignment, but to the steady pulse of your dominant frequency. When you understand this principle, you recognize that mastery lies not in perfect moments, but in patient return. It is the gentle art of guiding your attention back to trust when doubt arises, back to gratitude when scarcity threatens, back to peace when chaos swirls. This consistent realignment, however small, creates an energetic momentum that eventually becomes irresistible. Thomas Caldwell's transformation emerged not from dramatic declarations or intense visualization sessions. Instead, it blossomed through his commitment to two simple touchstones: morning stillness and evening appreciation. These weren't grand ceremonies, but quiet moments of reconnection with higher frequency. As days turned to weeks and weeks to months, these brief practices reshaped his energetic signature more powerfully than any single breakthrough experience could have. The law of attraction operates with mathematical precision, responding to the average of your vibrational offerings rather than their peaks. Like compound interest in the spiritual realm, small adjustments in frequency, maintained with devotion, accumulate into massive shifts in manifestation. This is why masters of every tradition emphasize the power of daily practice over sporadic intensity. Your relationship with energy is not built in dramatic moments, but in countless small choices to return to alignment. Each time you choose trust over worry, appreciation over criticism, or acceptance over resistance, you strengthen your connection to divine flow. These subtle shifts, repeated with sincere devotion, become the foundation of lasting transformation. Sacred practice. As you move through your days, choose one simple moment, such as waking or resting at night, to consciously return to the feeling of alignment, breathing it in with sincerity and letting that steady devotion to elevated frequency quietly reshape your identity and your world. If you enjoyed this audiobook, I created a free ebook version for you. You can download it using the link in the pinned comment. Conclusion. Energy has always been speaking, and now you know how to listen and respond. Every thought carries tone, every emotion carries momentum, and every belief carries creative authority. The language of God is not distant or mysterious, but intimate and immediate, flowing through your awareness in each moment. When you align feeling with desire, imagination with trust, and action with inspiration, life reflects coherence back to you. Manifestation is not magic, but correspondence between inner frequency and outer form. You are both transmitter and receiver within an intelligent universe that mirrors your dominant state with precision and compassion. Your emotional tone is your prayer, your sustained belief is your declaration, and your focused attention is your affirmation. As you continue forward, remember that mastery is not perfection, but conscious recalibration whenever you drift. In moments of doubt, gratitude restores harmony. In times of contraction, love elevates vibration. When uncertainty rises, faith stabilizes intention. The universe responds not to fleeting thoughts, but to sustained energy, not to surface words, but to deep conviction. The more deliberately you speak through energy, the more gracefully reality answers. Your power lies not in forcing change, but in aligning with the frequencies you wish to experience. Once you know that creation flows through feeling rather than force, through resonance rather than resistance, you begin to create with ease rather than effort. You are not separate from divine intelligence, but an instrument through which it expresses. As you master the language of energy, reality becomes your faithful mirror, reflecting back the light you choose to shine. Once you know it, you create reality.
If you enjoyed this exclusive audiobook, I handpicked this next book which will change your life.